This is my first row. This is the hardest to start, and what I did to stabilize this is I put screws towards the edge to stabilize the board so it doesn't move around, because you gotta, when you click it together, you gotta push in pretty hard with it to get it to go in place. And if it's just sitting on the glue, it moves all over the place and it's almost impossible to get it to come together. Anyways, I'll kind of make some recordings as we go through this, but I use a 1/4 inch trowel when we're putting down the glue, and you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself or the glue will dry and you're kind of hosed. A couple things there in the time-lapsed video you couldn't really see very well. But to get these to engage, you have to push them together pretty good. So I use a screwdriver and put it into the groove there, just tap it with a hammer to get it to push into the, for this piece to fit into this one. You know, I tilt it up a little bit and then push it in like that. And it snaps in and then snaps down. But it has to go in first before it goes down. And like I said, those first 2 rows out there, those are really hard to keep stable. It would adjust the glue, so, and plus it was kind of messy. But when I put those screws behind the boards after I got it straight, then it was much easier because that stabilized the boards. The other thing is, I didn't talk about preparation on the subfloor. You want to make sure that you get all the tacks and staples and nails and all the debris up as well, so the glue sticks. But you don't want anything sticking up to push the floor up higher. So go over it real good with a vacuum and just smack all the staples into the wood with a hammer or something so it's all flat. So I have 2 rooms. I could have ran the boards the other way, I guess. It probably would have been easier. Decided to go the full length. A possible problem is going to be when the room on the left is the living room, to the room on the right is the dining room. When I cross over there, I got to make sure that those line up perfectly. This on the left I put in yesterday. This on the right I just put in as we're watching there. But the stuff on the right you can still scooch around because the glue isn't dry yet. So I'm going to hurry up and put this last 3 rows in so it matches up to this room, and that way if I need to move stuff around a little bit on the right, I can. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, it'll scooch a little bit. Once it dries though, it's not going anywhere. I mentioned earlier that this takes, you have to push it in to place and before it locks in and it'll set down. So let's talk about that. And also, you want to make sure that these rows are perfectly straight, because if it's off a little bit, it's going to be really hard to get it to lock in place, because if it's bent, then it won't lock in that end. This one's a little bit off. You see, you set it down and it kind of stays there, so I got to push it in to your, I guess that's to your left. Push it that way, and then once it gets in the seat, then it will fully sit down. So I was using a screwdriver. They probably make something for this. It'd be nice if I had a wider end on the screwdriver. But make sure it's not too thick, because you get something too thick, then it'll start splitting apart the seam and messing the board up. Sometimes it doesn't take too much, as long as it's lined up correctly. Once it gets in seat, then it kind of sets down. And with the glue, it can be quite messy too if you So you see it kind of set in that side first and then it worked its way down. It's got a little bit of bow to it, not much. But it's still able to compensate. It compensates a little bit, but you want to make sure you get these rows as straight as you possibly can. And that talks about staggering these joints. These two, I should have moved this down a little bit more, because if you put your joints right across from each other, it'll get crooked. So even these on the, like a board apart, this one should have been over like a foot or two. So I screwed that one up, but oh well, too late now. You know, but I try to avoid that. So when you put in your starter piece, make sure that the joints are a couple feet apart, even on the next board over. You know, third board probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but if you line up your joints, make it look pretty, then it's going to be harder to keep the board straight, and it's going to be screwed up. So these, you just drop them in the joint, move it all the way over to the left. You got to work from left to right on this, because that's the way the joints go together. This one on the right actually goes over the one on the left. When you're laying out the room, make sure that you consider, hey, I'm going to move from left to right. Nothing like a good hammer. So this one's a little bit up off the floor. And see, it sticks out. You gotta walk on it a little bit too to make sure it adheres to the glue and fills in.